So, I am ready to start reading today. Okay, A. Now, I am Arafel from Read Aloud with Me, and I got another channel called Arafern, and I'm hoping this channel blows up just a little bit more, like nobody has seen my other channel basically, and I thought with a shorter name maybe somebody else would, come, but yeah. Hi. Okay, you ready to get a reading? Okay, now I'm deciding which really book I should read, but let's get some background music. That's a little quiet, isn't it? You can't hear it, can you? Is that better? I think it might be a little too loud, but you'll just have to deal with it. Okay. So now it's time to... Okay, that is way too loud. I have to turn this down. Like, really have to. That's perfect, I think. Now, let's get... Okay, so we're going to be reading The Abominable Snowman, which, it is a choose-your-own adventure, and there are 28 possible endings. Now, I'm not going to do 28 videos choosing different choices and hoping I end up with different, finishes. I'm probably only going to do one or two. So, yeah, I'm going to try to find something to mount this on. Sorry, it's kind of awkward because I don't have normal YouTuber fancy equipment, but let's just get started. Okay. You are a mountain climber. 3 years ago, you spent a summer climbing at a climbing school in the mountains of Colorado. Your instructors said that you had natural skills as a climber. You made rapid progress, and by the end of summer, you were leading a difficult rock and ice climbs. This summer, you became close friends with a boy named Carlos. The two of you made a good climbing team. Last year, you and he were chosen to join an international team. The expedition made to the top of two unclimbed peaks in South America. One night on that expedition, the group that was seated around the cook tent at the base camp. The expedition leader, Franz, told stories of climbing in the Himalayas, the highest mountains in the world. By the way, these are the Himalayas mountains. I don't know if you can see that great, but that's the best footage I'm given, because I can't really, The Himalayas form a great natural wall between India and China. With Nepal tucked in amid the peaks. Everest, K2, and Annapurna are the best-known mountains in the Himalayas. These and many other peaks have been climbed. Still, others lie in remote areas where few humans have gone. There, said France, in the high valleys beneath the snowfields lived the Yeti, sometimes called the abominable snowman. The Yeti is said to be a huge beast, Franz tells you, perhaps a cross between a gorilla and a human. People cannot agree what it is. Is the Yeti dangerous? Carlos asked. French shrugged. Some say it is. Other people say the Yeti is very gentle. Have you ever seen one? You inquire. No, almost no one has. The best proof of the Yeti's existence is a set of very large footprints discovered in the 1950s by a British expedition. No one has ever photographed one that I have heard, France answered. But still the stories persist. You and Carlos decided to then and to there find the Yeti. When you returned from South America, the two of you raised money from the International Foundation for Research into Strange Phenomena. Your goal? Proof positive that the Yeti exists. You will find and photograph the Yeti. That is what brings you to Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Your problems, though, have already begun. 2 days ago, Carlos left by helicopter to look over the terrain near Mount Everest. The helicopter returned without him. The pilot told you that Carlos decided to stay up at the Everest base camp to check out a report that the Yeti had been seen. He had a radio transmitter, but you have received no word from him. The weather turned bad, and radio communication was interrupted. You have an appointment to speak with R.N. Runel, the director of expeditions and mountain research, and an authority of the Yeti. On the Yeti, he knows of your plans. You need his help with the official permits about the expedition. He will also have good advice and information. But what about Carlos? I don't know if I should search for Carlos or I should feel that Carlos is okay and go ahead with the plan to meet Runel. I'm going to ask you if you want to in the comments below tell me if I do this again, which one I should choose. But for now, I'm going to choose to cancel it. So I'm going to turn to 7. You telephone Mr. Runel at the Foreign Ministry. This is an emergency, Mr. Runel. My friend Carlos is missing at base camp. I need help right now. Of course, I understand. Please allow me the honor of coming with you. I know the reason well. You gladly accept the help of Mr. Runel. His reputation as a mountaineer is excellent. He is able to arrange for a Royal Nepalese Army helicopter to meet you at the Tribhuvan airport. 2 hours later, you land at the Everest base camp where Carlos was last seen. His red nylon mountain tint is still there, but the storm has erased all footprints. Most reports of the Yeti have them well below base camp, but it's possible that they are up this high, Runel says, as the two of you stand by the tent looking at the glacier and the high peaks. I wonder if we should look below the base camp or go above the base camp. I'm going to go above. But Carlos did say that he had followed the most recent reports, really. So I don't know if this is the greatest decision, but I'm gonna do it. Okay? So I'm going to page 13. If you have a book and you want to follow along, please do. Above the base camp are the dangerous seracs. These are huge blocks of These huge blocks of ice are always moving, and people climbing through this maze of ice are in constant danger. Ronald leads the way. You both have crampons on your boots. A slender red and yellow nylon rope links the two of you. It's a safety rope. Watch out! Jump! A block of ice quivers and tumbles to the side. Ronald had seen it just in time. You move more slowly now, wary of these treacherous seracs. On the backside of a serac as large as 2-story house, you find him. Carlos is sitting in the sun, fidgeting with his camera. Hey, what are you guys doing here? That's what we want to know. You scared us to death with your disappearing act. Carlos, what's up? Carlos puts the camera away, and after you introduce him, Ronald explains that he found tracks. Yeti tracks, perhaps, and followed them. He tried to radio, but the weather blocked it. The tracks faded, and he couldn't find his way back to the camp. He had been sitting and waiting. Ronald examined one track protected from drifting snow and explained that they are blue bear tracks, not Yeti tracks. So disappointed, you go back to the helicopter and return to Kathmandu. The next day, you go to the shop of Sanji Pandeg's Sorba, a well-known Sherpa guide. Carlos stays with Ronald, getting the permits. You enter the store there, and behind a counter stacked with dried food in plastic bags, tanks of gas for mountain stoves, and mule hats is Sanji Sorba. You introduce yourself, and immediately you like this man. He is warm and friendly, and recently has been with the Japanese expedition to Pormi in a French Everest attempt. Maybe you should ask him to join you as you search for Yeti. I think I'm going to wait and talk it over with Carlos. That would be a little rude. Not telling Carlos. You think Carlos should have a chance to meet Sanji. You occupy yourself with buying the high-altitude tents, ice axes, crampons, ropes, pythons, and ice screws. While looking through a rack of downfill parkas used on previous mountain expeditions, you come across one that attracts your attention. It's a purple parka, medium size. One of the pockets is filled with something. You give a quick look to make sure there is flap. It feels like there's a rock in the pocket. You take it out and unwrap the heavy brown paper covers. It's a skull! Could this be a Yeti skull? Yikes, there's a piece of paper stuffed inside the skull. It's a map, and it shows the road leading through Kathmandu to the town of Nagarkot. There is an X mark next to the abandoned temple of the Hindu god Shiva. How about joining us on the search for the Yeti, Sanji? He smiles and hesitates. Then he picks up the sticks of incense. One is longer than the other. He lights them both, and their rich fragrance fills the air of all his small store. You see, as one fragrance merges with the other, we do not know the difference between them. Only when the shorter stick burns out will we know which stick was the fragrance of rose and which was the fragrance of magnolia. You were puzzled by his talk of incense. You ask, "So what does that mean, Sanji?" "It does not mean anything. It only is." You are really confused now. What to do? Perhaps you should leave this talk of incense alone and forget asking Sanji to join you. Maybe he's crazy. So I'm going to persist and try to understand his point. So 38. Okay, so you want me to choose which stick is rose and which is magnolia. Is it a test? If you're right, I'll go. If not, you won't? Sanji smiles, displaying gold caps on 3 of his upper front teeth. He nods his head. Here goes, you say. The longer stick is Kashmiri rose incense. Sanji claps his hands, brings them up to the forehead and bows slightly, saying, Namaste, Barasabib. I am at your command, master. It is decided he will accompany you. You have chosen the right one. Some things just happen by chance. This was one of them. You ask, where should we head? Annapurna or Los Everest region? What do you think, Sanji? Many have seen Yeti prints near Everest, but there's a region near Annapurna Fishtail Mountain where we could have good luck. The Everest region has been more fully explored. Annapurna is less known. I think Annapurna. I'm turning to page 50. Okay. 2 days later, with permits obtained and supplies bought, you and Carlos and Sanji start the long journey from Kathmandu to Pokhara. 3 days after that, you and your party, along with 12 porters to carry the supplies, are camped in a field high above the valley floor near a small village called Dumpus. That night, after a dinner of brown rice and lentils, onions, and garlic, you sit in front of your red mountain of brown rice and lentils, onions, and garlic. You sit in front of your red mountain tents, watching the moon and play on the snowy white flanks of Annapurna and Dhaulagiri. It is silent and chilly. You are tired from the climb, but glad to be alive and in this magical kingdom. With the darkened village behind you, you feel as though your group might be the only people on Earth. Surprisingly, you see a light flash on Annapurna. It repeats, then again. It may just be a reflection or another party. Or it may be a signal from someone in trouble. Or maybe it's a signal from the Yeti. I think it's a signal, so I'm turning to page 67. Okay. Look at that flashing light, Carlos. Once again, the light blinks 3 times, then stops. Then it blinks again. What do you think? Could it be trouble? Sanji says, that could be an emergency signal, but it is very far from here. Across the valley, just below the glacier, we could go, or I could return to Pokhara and report it to the authorities. How much time would it take you to get back to Pokhara? I can go faster than our whole group. Perhaps it would take a day, and they would send a helicopter. Without outside help, there's little we could do if there's someone in trouble, but they may need help quickly. I think I'm going to respond for help, which I'm going to do. 85. It takes you most of the night to thread your way down steep, tricky trails to reach the valley floor. Once there, you start up the immense Annapurna, scrambling over rocks and skirting the glacier. It is cold and the night seems long to the three of you. Several more times you see flickers of light. Now you are sure you have done the right thing. Someone needs help. Near dawn, Carlos said, "Stop. I think I see something." Before your eyes, you see what you had come for. Dancing around a large fire, 11 Yeti. You have stumbled into a Yeti celebration at the end of the monsoons. You quietly watch, taking pictures and making notes. You have proved at last that the Yeti really exists. Months later, in Paris, France, at the International Explorers Conference, you and Carlos are given their highest award for your work. Success is both exciting and lonely. Good luck. The end. So, what do you think of that ending? Comment below if I should do another one of these, but maybe this same one, make different choices, or do a new one. Okay, so